Bro, that might be one of the sickest beats ever made. I don't know what to say. I don't know. All right, let's not start the other one. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. All right, yeah. Happy Friday. I hope it's going well for all you guys. Hopefully, it's the end of the week for at least some of you. I see you out there, Buck, still working. Hey, Weeping Spirit, welcome. Bobby Jones. Karuke. I say that wrong every time, I know. So I hope you guys are doing good. We'll get started as usual. My plan is for an hour, and then I have a video coming out right after we should be done. So I'll line that up so you guys can just jump from hearing me talk to hearing me talk. So as always, I'm Jay. Don't forget to throw away your feelings, open your minds, and question your beliefs. We got our coffee today in our little super fine mug. I ran out of the really big candles, so we just have a smaller candle at the moment, which should make some of you happier. Everybody that was worried that I was gonna burn myself down or burn the house down with myself in it. I think we're okay. I think we have everything going. Let's check this link for the Discord, and that is working as well. So yeah, today I was reading the story of the Tower of Babel, and it's one of the most interesting stories in the Bible. Like I doubt there's not a person that I could ever speak to on here that would not know the story. And since we've kind of been progressing we started in Genesis the last two lives, and we're just going to keep continuing through to each interesting story. I know we skipped some stories, maybe we'll go back, but I would like to play around with the beginning of the Bible for at least a little while, right? at least on my live streams. And then on my videos, we'll kind of just jump around anything. But I want these live streams to turn into something really organic. And I want us to flow through the beginning of the book till the end, because I think a lot of people only focus on the end to justify everything they don't want to deal with at the beginning. And yeah, Tower of Babel, baby. The point I'm making, that the reason I am making that point is, dang it, I lost track. I'll get back to it in a second. Let me drink some more of this coffee. Oh yes, I got it. See, I just needed that little sip of coffee. The ends do not always justify the means. Um, I've always felt that just because the outcome ends up being okay does not justify doing anything to anyone, I guess. Let's just say it that way. I've never agreed with that. It shouldn't be like, hey, it's going to work out in the end, so all the horrible crap you go through is okay. So, anyways, that's why I want to focus on the beginning of the Bible, because it's the most important. Everybody always focuses on the end of the Bible, but the beginning is the most important. And you cannot know the end without the beginning. So the beginning is more important. We need to focus on the beginning, because if there's a problem in the beginning, then we're dealing with a very shaky structure, and that's not how you should build your foundation. Your foundation should not be built on something that's super shaky. So that's why I want to start. Once again, hope you guys are doing good. Line is always open for anybody that wants to come chat and have a good time. Even if you disagree with me, we're probably going to have a good time. Just saying. Let me check my volume level. Ooh, that was too high. So anyone in here do not know the story of this great tower that's at one point mankind, it makes me think of the Matrix a little bit, but the Bible, or sorry, the apologetics of the Bible make it seem a little more evil, right? But you have, just imagine that, by the way, we have all of civilization actually getting along, right? All of civilization, we're getting along. Like, that's what everybody hopes for, I hope, right? So you guys, this whole civilization that is so intertwined and so connected, and wants to inspire to go to the heavens, right? And they only said they're going to build a tower to the heavens, by the way. It wasn't supposed to be no disrespect. So why at the moment that we all come together, which is what I always hope for, I wonder, anybody that thinks this story is God doing the right thing, I wonder, would you be against humankind coming together today and solving all of these problems, solving world hunger, solving climate change, climate crisis, all of that? Like, would you be against, like, if we all decided to do that? I don't think so. So why would this story be good, that God decided to separate all the people when they were finally getting along? So we can talk about it. Let's pull up the verses here. This is the fun part. We'll start with our Genesis 11:1. The whole earth had one language and speech. Then we get into the come, let's build ourselves a city. That's Genesis 11:4. A tower whose top reaches to the sky. And let's make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad on the surface of the whole earth. So they didn't want to be scattered. They wanted to connect like us, right? I want connections. I want somebody that's got my back, right? I want us to all get along. So let's talk about this tower. What are y'all's gripes with that so far? From Noah to Babel, there are only like 5 generations. Seems like very little time to separate languages. Well, that's why God had to come down and do it. God separated them. Now, obviously, this story is probably not true, guys. Just saying. But the main point is it's supposed to be, or sorry, I don't even understand if it's supposed to be told as a good story in any way at all, right? Like at all. Like I don't understand. It's a good, and there's some other parts I want to talk about in it that don't make any sense. But I'm trying to focus on like what is the moral of the story, right? Like let's not. I don't want us to get distracted. Yeah, maybe I misspoke, but I was saying that they all had one language, right? Or you can explain. I could be misunderstanding what you're saying, but that's that. Maybe we should start there. What is supposed to be the moral of the story? What am I supposed to learn as a human being? Right? What is God teaching me there? Let's talk about that maybe. And like, of course, I think we know all the excuses. Oh, I see your point. Okay, so yes, the Babel story is one thing, and then you're saying before Noah they had their own. Oh yeah. Okay. Now I got you. I got you. You're pointing out some of the contradictions, I believe. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. There's there's so many contradictions in these stories, man. And just imagine you can see the progression of we just get smarter even if you don't want to get smarter. If you're in civilization, you kind of just learn crap anyway. Uh so it's just interesting to watch if you go back in time and if you could go look at I don't know. There wasn't a lot of this kind of social media stuff, but if you could like go back and there was whatever social media was for there, Christians weren't admitting any of these things. They thought they were real, right? You thought it was true and legit, and now most people will call them metaphors and stories. Um, but yeah, let's get back to Babel. I see pride. Um, you know the verse that says they got punished for pride? I'll put it in if you got it. I'm kind of just taking like my notes, but I like to look through stuff together. By the way, this is a team effort. We're learning and fixing this together. Let's see. All right. So we're gonna be we're looking for the reasons why God destroyed the Tower of Babel. That's what we're looking for. We're gonna look at the verses that tell us why God did it. Then I'll get my notepad up and we'll kind of go through some of them and we'll see if they make sense. We'll see if this sounds like a kind father again. I'm assuming we're going to hit a story eventually where God does something that I agree with. It has to happen. There's no way I go through this whole book and God doesn't do something I think was right. Got it. We're going to find something. All right. So Genesis 11:4. Come, let's build ourselves a city and tower. Yeah, top. We already did that. And make a name for ourselves. Okay, there's the name for ourselves. Now, let's start here. Why is having a name for yourself a sin? Let's go there. That's a good place to start, right at the beginning. That's what I like about these stories. Right at the beginning, there's a problem. So, what is bad about making a name for yourself? Who wants to say it's bad? And I hope you live your life this way too. Because I expect if you're saying making a name for yourself is somehow evil, I hope you do not try to be successful in anything in life. I'm joking, obviously. Because if we're going to use the words, let's use the words, right? Like, what is wrong with making a name for yourself? And I want you to notice what's going to happen when you have to come up with an apologetic for this. You're going to start adding in a bunch of extra stuff. I'm going to help you out. Like, the only answer to this is going to sound very silly. So, what's wrong with making a name for yourself? If anybody dares to walk down the line with me, in no way. Uh, so that's what I'm saying. So there is no you don't want anyone to have self glory. All right. So like I said, I tell many Christians this: if you truly believe this, you should be homeless, have nothing, and on the street only praising God. If that is true, it means you should not be doing anything for yourself and only for God. So you must go and be a monk, I guess, and give up everything. It is very true if you're saying that these people wanted to make a name for themselves, right? Now, here's a question. Let's be fair here. Um, did they say that they wanted to make themselves a name over God? Is that in there? Real question, by the way. Did they say anything like that? And not what the author says, but like, does the story actually say that? I'm like, let's see. Oh, then weeping spirit. I guess my question would be, what do you mean by self glory? Maybe that's where we're having a little mix up. Like, what do you mean by self glory? Because, like I said, you have to add in extra things, because if you're saying self glory is okay at sometimes and then not others, then you're not really telling me the immoral thing that's going on, right? So, like, I'm trying to get your understanding on why you think self glory is bad. Because the way it sounds to me, it's like me trying to be the best at anything is self glory in a way, right? And then we're going to get to the verses where God is speaking, but I'm allowing everybody to walk themselves down the story. And then we'll get to some of these points, right? But I would say just be careful about saying anything that's not in the book, because then I'm going to have a problem, and we're gonna just disagree. If you bring in us stuff that's not in the book, we're going to disagree, because now you're just talking from modern times, right? Let's read what's in the book, and we're going to stick to the book. And the book is supposed to be telling us a story, right? So let's stick to the book. And if it doesn't say it, let's try to be tough on each other, right? I'll try not to say anything it doesn't say exactly, and you try. Let's do that. I think that's very fair. I'll do that, because I know sometimes I might add in my own little personal note too. So let's stick to what the book says. Cool. All right. So when you want self glory, aren't you prideful? So that's why I asked, name something for me that is good self glory. That's yeah, let's do that. Name something for me that would be, if I know it's okay for me to have self glory. Or are you saying you should never have pride? Just use the word pride. Are you telling me I should never be prideful? Like have pride, you right? Yeah, so let's start there. I feel like things are quiet, but I never have anything playing in the background. But it seems like super quiet. So I'll let you get some time to catch up there. All right, we're gonna flow through the story. That's a very important question, though. I think we had to solve that one before we move on. Like, what is it automatically evil to try to have some self pride? Like, yeah, I don't think you would teach your kids to not have some pride of themselves, right? Does God ever say, have pride in yourselves? Or does God always just say your pride is bad? And then there's a bunch of other questions like this. We got a lot to go on this story. That's why the Tower of Babel is such a good story. Hey, welcome, Mohammed. Like, there's so many things that are bad in this story. I'm always amazed when anyone wants to defend it. So it's always interesting to me. I think the story is just obviously bad. It's a bad look for a loving father. It's a very bad look. Very, very bad look. It's just another example how God might not be a loving father. Might be a mean father, that's for sure, but might be a loving father. Yeah, so that's a good example there, JT. Like, what if I build something that helps people? I would have pride in that. No, see, I knew you were going to say that, Buck. See, I can read minds. That's why I said exactly what I just said before you put that in there. Like, no, I can do something. Even me helping people right now, I have a lot of pride with that. If I help somebody think better, feel better, be able to express their feelings, move on to the next day. I take pride in that. But now I am helping people. So it could not always be selfish. Okay. So that's a good, I guess yeah, okay. I guess we would have to distinguish the words. Uh, you're saying prideful is the next like selfish level. Is that what we're saying? Like I said, I want to be clear before I move on. I still think I'm correct in this conversation, but I want to make sure I know your words before I move on to the next steps. Okay, so indeed, got it. All right, so now you would need to answer this question for me since we know what we're talking about. We're talking about being prideful. Now, let's look at the story again and which part to you guys is being prideful, right? So let's do that part now. I like how we're progressing down this. That's cool. So tell me which part of the story is them like, and it will give me a visual of, oh, that's what prideful is, okay? And then I'll give an example of what that would be. And then this is how you know if you understand people's meanings, by the way. If you can come up with a story with you in it saying what they're saying, it's kind of how it's easier to know we are both on the same page. So If you give me an example of them being prideful, I'll think of something that, oh, okay, if I did this, this is what you mean. And then we'll move on to the next step. This is how you question your beliefs, by the way. Selfish plug. Okay, so wanting to lift themselves in heaven. So let me make it like it's me. Um, let's just say this right here. I want to like I want to be the biggest YouTube channel ever talking about this. That's what you mean prideful is? Because heaven just means sky. I mean, hey channel, what's up, man? And if we're trying to interpret it into our language, right? They're reaching for the best. They're trying to be the best, right? That's what I read when I see it. They're trying to be the best, right? So my example of that is like, hey, I would love to be okay. So yes, where does it say they challenged God? That's what I'm looking for. Does it say they challenged God? Hey, John. Thanks, brother. Right, yeah. Find the verse where it says they challenged God. That's what I'm looking for. I'm glad we're doing this, by the way. We're literally going down the story. This is how you're supposed to do it. Like, this is how you're supposed to go and talk about a story. Let's go through his story. And as long as we both stay honest, we're gonna get through this. This is like, I love this. So now let's find where it says they were against God. Let's see. Kiroku just put, can you provide the verse? Let's see. Okay, we've been spared. This is a test to see if you're going to be honest on this one, and you might have a different opinion. Jesus says no one has ascended into heaven but me, and then obviously Elijah got sent to heaven, correct? So does heaven mean the same thing there? Genesis 11:4. Thank you. Genesis. So we got Genesis 11:4. We'll put that up. And this is just to see if, like, maybe you believe Jesus misspoke or whatever, but there's two heavens used. So either Jesus is lying or doesn't know, or the Old Testament's lying about Elijah. So is heaven the same there? Miko, thanks for those, man. 5 gifted subs. You guys be sure to say thank you. Appreciate that, brother or sister, human, fellow human. Thank you very much. That you guys get to use little icons with that, by the way. I don't know if you know that. You got these little icons. You know, you get to mess around with some icons. I'll update these. We'll get some better ones, but you get to mess around a little bit. So all right, we're looking. I got Genesis 11. Genesis 11. Now we're looking for the other verse. We're looking for the other verse that tells us that they were doing this just in spite of God, like directly God, right? We got to find the verse. We can't just make it up. We got to find the verse. Remember, we're being honest here. So you find that verse and we can move on. Or if we want to just say, like, hey, I'm wrong about this story, it doesn't look good for God, that's cool too. Like, if we get to the point where we both understand, like, oh, this doesn't look that good, we can move on. But if anybody wants to challenge that this does not look good for God at the moment, go ahead. All right, so here is Genesis 11:4. This is the World English. Come, let's build ourselves a city and a tower whose top reaches to the sky, and let's make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad on the surface of the whole earth. Now, this does not sound like a challenge to God. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm always honest, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This does not sound like a challenge to God. Please let me know how that's challenging God. They gave the reason why they wanted to do it also, by the way. It doesn't say, hey, let's go to war with God in the sky. They gave their exact reason. Now, the only way you can combat this, if you're going to do what I'm talking about questioning your beliefs, is to show me a verse that directly speaks like this one. No vagueness. Like, this isn't vague, right? We got to avoid being vague just to make our points. This isn't vague. They say exactly why they are doing it. And in nowhere here does it say we hate God or we want to be better than God. I don't see it yet. Doesn't mean it's not here, but that's what I'm looking for. So don't come at me with anything but another verse that's this simple. Right. So, weeping spirit, this is one of those points in time you get to be honest, which is, I love those opportunities for people. You get to be honest that so far, this story isn't adding up. It doesn't mean that there isn't an answer, but we have to keep progressing. And now you have a point where, oh shit, this doesn't look good. Excuse my language. And that's cool to me. Like, I don't think anybody should be afraid of that, by the way. I'm not saying you're afraid, but I don't think anybody should be afraid of that because it's like, wait, this ain't adding up. And then you get to learn something. You get to learn more. Um, I enjoy learning, man. I love it. That's why I don't understand. Like, sometimes in my comments, people get mean when they're trying to give me some kind of advice, or I don't know. Sometimes they don't even give advice. So I'm like, what is actually your point? Because when I call out people, it's usually, even like, obviously you shouldn't be rude either way, but when I call out people, I'm doing it in an actual way where I think I can help them. So I try to be as kind as possible. But it's just like, if you're going to just say, hey, bro, your channel sucks, what is the point of that? I don't get it. Like, that takes like a different brain. If I'm going to take the time to speak to you, it's probably because I care a little bit. Other than that, I just move on. So weird. People are weird. I know that was a little rant, but it's just funny to me. Like, I must have offended you so bad. Like, that's how I think it is. It really is. Like, it means I offended them probably. I don't even know if those people worship God. Okay, so at this point, I think we could say that this story, until you found some other evidence, shows God in a very bad light. Because now we have to assume everything, right? We went from reading the story and both agreeing with the story to now, to make the story make sense, we have to assume something. And that is why I say we write the Bible. We speak for God, because a lot of the times we don't just look at the story, we have to make up something. And if you're not allowed to do that, the story is what it is, right? Because I was told this same thing too, that these people were against God and doing all that. But when you read it, where does it say that? Like, where does it say that these people were against God? So far, we're not there. And until we get there, we can't just say that. But I was told that same thing. Like these were the evilest people in the world, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But I don't see that. Getting low on my coffee. Oh, I hope we don't have anybody call in. I think Fridays will be less calls. People are at like work and stuff. Wait, you just told me these people were against God, weeping spirit. Did I hear you wrong? Come on, hold on. I thought that was your whole point. Was it? Am I just? Is this where we were confused? I could have swore you said they were against God, right? Or did you mean something totally different? Or maybe I'm using the wrong word and I still knew what you mean, but I'm using the wrong word and I'm confusing you. I thought we were on the same page. Yeah, JT, that's what we're that's the point of our exercise here is to just help anyone be able to admit parts of the story where it's okay to just say like, all right, yeah, this don't make no damn sense. And it should be a little checkbox. It should be a check mark. It should be tick a little box. Like, and the more ticks you get that it don't make no damn sense, you have to start leaning that way. Right? You don't have to hold on if it's like if there's more check marks that this shit don't make sense. If you got about 100 check marks at a certain point, you got to be like, yeah, it just don't make no damn sense. And that's okay. Oh, okay. I agree with you then, Weeping Spirit. Yeah, I agree with that. I presented it in the wrong way, but that's what I meant. Like, what they were doing was against God. Yeah, I think we're a little closer now. Still a disagreement, obviously, but I think it's a little bit closer now. But can we agree that so far in this story, unless we insinuate other things, that these people were doing nothing wrong, right? Because I think we're in agreement there just by your last statement. Sounds like we agree that they had no clue they were doing something wrong, right? Sounds like a similar story from the other part of Genesis we were in, by the way. Seems like a repeat in the Bible all the time. But if we can agree on that, we'll move to the next portion. Yeah, I think this was part of what you were saying, Weeping Spirit, the next part. And then we'll talk about this because I think you were using this as a way to say why they were doing something against God. It's all good. We're moving through it. I know. I like going through the story like this. All right. So next is well, yeah, but that's what I was saying though. If you can't do anything for yourself, then we are saying um we're literally saying God doesn't even want us to have pride in ourselves because I don't agree that trying to build a tower as a like hey humanity's awesome thing would necessarily mean that you're against God. And I like to do that's all we can do is do metaphors for God and us. What kind of would you like that's how you would raise your family to not try to exalt your family? And it doesn't mean Because your family is awesome, that all other families are not awesome, or that the world is underneath you. It's not like you're trying to be better than the world. So it's like, what, in what way would you raise your family in that way, though? It's weird. We tell our kids to be the best they can be, right? Like, I don't understand how this translates into our world, and we're saying that that was okay back then. Oh, got it. I forgot. Yeah, you're saying that's more of the history, the stories that were being told, right? Gods get mad, like Zeus. I think I get your point now. Like, they get mad, but isn't it in most of those instances? It's like, because in those instances, the people actually knew the gods existed. The gods came down and interacted. So I think there might be a little bit difference in the story here, because in those books the gods came down and they were like interacting for real. In this book, it makes it still more vague, right? Even when God comes down and destroys the tower, it's kind of vague on what the hell is actually going on, right? Like, do they see God come destroy the tower? I don't know. Let's keep going down the story, I guess. Let me know if that makes sense. But I think it makes sense. Like, do they, like, I don't even know what that interaction was like. I do want to get to the points where, um, who's God talking to, right? I think that's an interesting point too. Like, we're talking about the Tower of Babel. I'm about to actually type the topic and put it in the comments, so, and pin the comment so everybody knows. I think we should start doing that. That way, everybody knows the topic. I think I spelled that right. Let me know if I spelled it wrong. Oh, you only can have one pinned comment? That's stupid. What? All right, whatever. I thought you could have like multiple stacked pinned comments. I guess you wouldn't want to fill your whole page with comments though. Tower is in Genesis. So right now we just got through reading Genesis. What was that? 11:14. We can go to Genesis 11:6, where we're going to be seeing what God says. Now this is interesting to me. This one is very interesting. So Genesis 11:6. Behold, they are one people. Now, I want to start at the beginning. You guys are saying that them being one people is bad, right? Because I want to go down this whole sentence and break it down. So, is is them being one people bad? And then show me uh yeah. Just answer that first. Yeah. I need to get some more coffee in a minute. Got it. Okay, so that's a fair. God seems to think it's bad. I feel like that's an honest answer. Anybody else? Because that is an answer. Well, somebody thinks it's bad. Obviously, somebody thinks it's bad. And then now the discussion is why they think it's bad. There you go, JT. That obviously would be what I am saying here. As a father, we've talked about this the last stream, and that's why we're going through Genesis, by the way, because there's a lot of good metaphor examples that show why this book is kind of messed up, right? I'm trying to be nice as possible when I say kind of messed up, right? Because I want to walk you guys along with me, right? Walk you along with this. So it's just like, yes, as a father, I would be proud. And here's the thing, here's the key before everybody starts saying stuff. I would be able to show you if, like, say you came to me and you're like, "Hey Jay, why you're not proud of your kids? He's doing all these things, right?" And like, or she, I got four of them, so they're doing all these things. Why aren't you proud of them? For you to understand why I wasn't proud of them, I would have to be able to explain to you what I thought was bad about what they did. And that would be the only way you could understand why I wasn't proud of them, because to you, it looks like they're doing great. So that's what I'm asking from you guys, right? To show me what I'm envisioning, because I'm seeing them do great things. I'm seeing them do things I would want in our society right now. I wish we would come together and build something. That sounds amazing to me. So now you need to convince me why that was bad. And unfortunately, what's probably going to happen is you're going to realize the excuses you have to make are going to kind of contradict your beliefs in wanting a world to be better and a world coming together. Right. And then you're going to use certain words in order for that to make it sound better, or sorry, in order to make what you just sound better. But technically, you are saying you are against everybody coming together. And that's the thing that I'm trying to help people realize here is like, you are literally saying you are against everybody coming together. And that's something to think about here. So it's like, if everybody in this moment in time could come together, you guys would say, don't do it. Like, what if we just all were like, yeah, let's build a tower, right? Like, let's say that right now. Like, let's build a freaking tower. You guys would say no. I would love the whole world to just get along and build a damn tower. At least to show us that we could get along, man. I wish we would come together and do something stupid like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for real, man. I wish we could show that we could all get along for something. Please. I would have loved something like this. Oh, that's a good point too. I didn't think about that. Yeah. But the whole point of this is you have to see what it makes you do and how it makes you think, because the whole world coming together to do a project that's not about killing anybody, you would love that right now. I guarantee you, everybody that's trying to defend this story would love us right now to come together and be like, hey, we're not going to kill anymore. We're not going to do any wars anymore. We're about to go together and build a tower. Nobody's going to die. Everybody's going to be fed. Everybody's going to be eaten. We don't want to be separated anymore. We're going to come together. So it's just like, well, wait, you were supposed to show me where they're not getting along. Sorry. I thought we got past that point. Guys, we're doing a metaphor here, guys. What are we talking about? Why are you guys trying to be literal here? What do you guys? I'm saying in the scenario, like we all decided to do something. Like we're going off the story. You have to show me in the story where it says that they're killing each other or something. Like we're going down the line. Like what are we doing here? No, I meant in the Tower of Babel story, guys. We're being very specific here. Hey, Patsy. What's up, guys? Sorry if I miss you. I'll catch up, but like we're not on Cain and Abel right now. We did skip Cain and Abel. I apologize, but we did skip Cain and Abel. Maybe we'll go to Cain and Abel. That was a good story we could have gone over too, but I did skip it because the Tower of Babel, I got too excited. I wanted to talk about it. I love the Tower of Babel story. I think it shows God's personality to the T. Beautiful. Yeah, JT, that's true. Unchecked pride. Right. Okay. So let's start there, Weeping Spirit. As a good mother, how would you uncheck your child's pride? Would you take everything away from them and then scatter them and make them confused? So they would you make them start over? Or would you help them not be as prideful in a more motherly way, right? Like how would you do that as a good mother? Because I assume you wouldn't do what God did and just take everything away from them and throw them on the street and say, "Ha, go ahead." Like I would assume that's not you. And if it is, let's talk about it, right? I'm not here to judge. I would just ask you why you think that's a better option, and maybe you do. I know that's not how I brought up my kids. My kids made many mistakes. At no point did I just take away their whole livelihoods and make them start over. I don't know. It's weird. That doesn't sound like good parenting to me, which is the whole point of this conversation, by the way. We are showing how God is not a very good parent. I'm surprised we haven't got anybody. Oh, we do got somebody. We got somebody, Sean. All right, let's hold off on the conversation and see what Sean has to say. Nice. Hold up. My bad. Take off the notes. Pull up Sean. Can you hear me? I see you green, but can't hear you yet. Try and check your microphone volume, but you are flashing green. Oh, you know what? Hold on. It could be me, brother or sister. 1 second. Say something again.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, that was all me. I'm talking shit about you, and it was me.
All right, no worries.
How's it going?
Not too bad. How are you, man?
Good, man. I'm having a good time. It's one of my off days, so I get to kind of chill and relax. What about you?
Oh, I'm good, man. I actually just stepped out of lunch or out of work for lunch, so I'll have to keep this relatively quick. But
Oh
I
yeah,
saw the
yeah.
prompt.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I saw the prompt come up, so I was like, all right, sure, fuck it, I'll try it.
All right, what you got on the story? Tower of Babel. What's your
Yeah,
take?
yeah. So I think if you read the context, it wasn't so much the coming together; it was the idea that they didn't know they no longer needed God. So um that's the overall economy because clearly they weren't able to build a tower to heaven that
Yeah, of
can't be
course.
done.
Yeah,
It's not within the physical realm.
right.
So he wasn't actually, he's not worried about any of that. It's just a matter of the context is you guys think that you no longer need me, which is not the case. So I'm gonna have to humble you a little bit.
Okay, so Genesis 11:6. Behold, they are one people, and they all
Hmm.
have one language. Now nothing will be withheld from them.
Yeah,
What is that? Why is God? That sounds scary. Like God's scared.
I mean, there'd be what is there? It's what does a philosophical constant have to be scared of?
No, I agree with you. This makes no sense. But
Right.
why is God saying now nothing will be withheld from them? That's a
Yeah.
really weird statement.
Yeah. Well, it's anthropomorphized language to basically illustrate a concept of clearly as a culture, um their ability to work together makes them self-dependent, which in this context is not a good thing.
Right, but no, let's be remember. I'm being a little more specific because you brought up a good point about what does God have to fear, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so what you just said to me, and if I'm wrong, I just need you to dumb it down for me.
Yeah.
Why is a God that's not afraid saying now? I'm sorry, not afraid and not and can not stop them, right? Because God could stop them easily, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, so now nothing will be withheld from them. I thought God is the
Yeah.
one that held and withheld. So why let's just say they finished the tower.
Uh huh.
What all of a sudden God could not stop them?
No, I don't think that's what that means. It's talking about it's using poetic because this is Genesis, right? Genesis,
Yes, yeah.
most Christians and most Jews will tell you Genesis is poetic. Um, an example would be like when God curses the snake to crawl on its belly. Well, how does that make sense when that's what a snake does, right? So this is poetic language, and it's to illustrate an overarching point of um
So are you saying at some
within the
point, like yeah, I'll roll with you on it not being literal. That's fine. Because I was
Mhm.
asking also what good could I get out of this story, right? That's what you're trying to tell me
Right.
right now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. The good is humility.
got it. But I'm
That
seeing nothing here. Like it's a bad story to me then because I am not seeing anything here. I could make a better story that sounded bad. How about I say it that way?
right, but it's that story is barely half a chapter long within the context of all of Genesis.
Correct, but it's its story in its own, right? And if we go back in time, Genesis is a bunch of this same kind of thing. Man does
Yeah.
something, it gets to a certain point, God says, "Nope, I don't like it." God destroys it, right? That's like all of Genesis in a way.
Um.
The beginning of it, sorry, let me be fair. The beginning of it is a bunch of man trying to do something. Nope, that's wrong. It's like a child, I think of. Like you got a child that's
Yeah. I mean.
learning and then you knock them back
I mean.
down to learn again.
You could. Yeah. You can probably say that about most of the Bible. It's a self fulfilling prophecy. Um. But I. But yeah, I think within the context, within the literary form that it's using, it's. I mean, you can even interpret this as a simple parable. Whether the tower, I mean, because I'm a Christian, I believe the Bible. If you were
Mhm.
to ask me, did the Tower of Babel actually happen, my answer would be, I honestly don't know.
And
I don't
I
know if
think
the
that would be
story's meant.
okay though. I don't mind
Yeah,
that
yeah.
because no matter what, just like I would say a book is good to teach morals because not that it's true, but because
Right,
of what I mean, the substance of it. So I'm okay with that.
right.
But I'm saying
Yeah,
when I read this, I am inspired, and God is the bad guy.
right.
This
Well,
this story is
because,
like God's the bad guy.
well, I mean, because you're reading it divorced from the rest of Genesis.
Well, I'm reading it
Um,
with because you might this might be your first time here, but we went from the Garden of Eden and I skipped over a couple of things. We need to go back, but now we're on the Tower of
okay,
Babel. So I'm reading it from the mindset of Garden of Eden, and
okay.
I'm seeing God overreact twice so far. We skipped over
Well, what was the
the first one is overreacting when Eve got tricked and Adam got tricked.
um?
But I don't want
Okay,
to go to
well,
that
and
one.
that
You have to go to another one for
right,
that one,
right.
though.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No
Okay, all
worries.
right, all right.
I think that's, but I think they tie in together though.
Okay, if you time in,
Um,
I'll go ahead. I'll let you go ahead.
yeah, yeah, because the original sin was you don't need God. Um, and then that's what this is all over again. It's
Okay,
so
and
it's a reoccurring theme.
I'm gonna try to tie this back too. So you said Adam and Eve showed they didn't need God, right?
It was well, they didn't show they didn't need God. It was an attempt to um to subvert God's commands.
Because here's how I see it, right? You had
Hmm.
people that had no clue what they were doing was what it was. I don't even want to use the word wrong. Like they had no clue what it was. And
Adam wasn't deceived.
what? Okay, I actually
Yeah,
like
no, no,
that
no,
Adam
no.
the Adam story. Okay, so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no. If you like, I understand
yeah,
you're not trying to go back to that, but if
yeah,
you read the whole thing in context, and the New Testament touches on this too, and I think it's Jude.
yeah.
Eve was deceived. Adam wasn't. Adam knew what was
That's
going on. His sin was listening to his wife, which there's a whole thing there.
all
But
right. So all right, hold on.
yeah,
All right,
yeah,
so we can still do it that way, right?
yeah.
Adam still would have not known the true consequences, right?
I it's hard to say because this idea that Adam and Eve were ignorant, they could have been thousands of years old by the time that happened.
Well, what I try to do is not add anything to it. So,
Right, right.
so I can't take your thousands of years because I don't do that. I'll just go off of, um, you're like you can have an inference, but it has to make sense, right? Like, there's nowhere in this book that is to say that they were alive for 1,000 years, so
Well,
I
you
don't
can get
accept
that
it.
you can get that from the context as well because when Cain and Abel came around, there was obviously more people in the world, which shows that they had been procreating for a long time.
Well, then, oh, hold on, we're gonna get too far because I'm gonna ask you how old you think the
Yeah,
Earth
yeah,
is
yeah.
now.
We're getting off topic, but
So,
yeah, we're getting way
but
off
the
topic.
all right, no, the topic before was fine because it was about me tying in God's bad character so far. So
Yeah, yeah.
to me, the story looks like an overreacting father. I'm not even saying the father was wrong, even though I do think there's other parts that the parent are responsible at this point. But let's just take all that away
Uh huh.
and then say this: I caught my kids doing something. It was really important, by the way. Like it can even be dangerous,
Uh
and
huh.
there would be no point in time that I would do something that's over exaggerated to the top, right?
Hmm.
The punishment is going to literally fit what they did, and the punishment isn't about um the punishment's about learning, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want them to learn, but I'm not going to destroy them in order for them to learn. So why is God destroying things? So we
He didn't
got
destroy anything. He
well,
twisted their
yes,
language.
they're dead. No. I'm sorry. They're supposed to die right in the garden, and
Oh,
then
we're back to the garden.
oh no, I'm tying these together, right? I'm giving you two.
Yeah, yeah.
So God over
Okay.
exaggerated there, and then God over
Okay.
exaggerated at the Tower of Babel as well, because God could have just came down and spoke to everybody and be like, "Hey, you guys are actually doing something okay here. Let me show you why it's not how it can be." Right? Like that doesn't make sense to literally tear down the tower and spread everybody out and make everybody confused. And then if we go to
Well,
modern times, guess what? That's why we don't get along right now because God scattered everybody.
all right. Well, um let's use your father analogy and we'll roll with that.
Okay.
I don't know if you have any kids or not. Let's
Yep.
say you have all right, so let's say you go to your son who is getting ready to make a bad decision because he thinks he's smarter than you.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, "No, let me explain to you why you're wrong." And he's like, "No, you don't understand. I've already determined I'm smarter than you. So there's nothing you can tell me that's going to change my mind." So that's what we're dealing with here.
Correct, but God can't do anything, right? So
No, no, I mean,
in that version, I would be a father that my son would be able to understand, right? Because to me, God would be perfect. If you don't think God's perfect, okay, I'll let you
mhm.
insert that, and then we'll have a different conversation. But to
Well,
me, I think highly of God. If God existed, God would be able to come down, speak to those people, and one word from God would make you understand. That's
no,
that's what
so
I
I
think.
think well, I think when people say God can do anything, they don't fully understand. There's a traditional view of what God can do anything means. All right, there's certain things he obviously can't do. He can't create a square circle, you know. Um, so he can't violate laws of logic. He can't, and a violation of a law of logic would be allowing free will to continue while at the same time subverting free will. in the
Yeah, but
sense
I don't
of
think that's against free will, right? Because I'm literally saying it. I'm not even saying what I usually would say because I think God could just physically make everybody behave, but that story is no fun. So
uh-huh,
I'm doing the story that God. I'm trying to make God as human as I can. So
right,
God to me would be the most articulate, well speaking. Like
uh-huh.
as soon as this person says something to you, you believe it. Like
So
that would be God to me.
so the traditional so now now you're speaking to the hiddenness of God and why God chooses to remain hidden, and the tradition, and I'm just going to tell you the traditional view on it, which I kind of agree with, is I think if when you're talking about the concept of God, and from the Christian perspective, we're talking about a philosophical and metaphysical constant, which is all perfect, all knowing, all everything. If you were in if he were to make his presence known, that would get in the way of free will, as you would not have any choice in your flesh to bow down and worship him. So in his hiddenness allows for the free will, because if he were to make himself known to you, you wouldn't have a choice but to rid yourself of your free will.
Okay. What's your name, brother? I didn't even ask you. Sean? Is it Sean?
Yeah, it's Sean.
Cool, cool. I'm Jay. So the problem I have with that part is why does God show up at all? Like, why do we even have a book? If that like I would believe you, I mean we wouldn't even be having this conversation to be fair.
Uh-huh.
We shouldn't even know about God if God doesn't want us to know about God. Like there shouldn't be no book. They're like, you know what I mean?
Well,
God should have never came
well,
and spoke to anyone, but God does
no,
all the
because
time.
no, because that doesn't mean that God doesn't want to be known. He just wants to be known through the basis of free will. Love by definition has to be freely given. So you can't make
Okay.
someone love you.
Yeah,
So
I agree, but um, God can do all of these things, right? Because God, do you think God would be the best public speaker you ever heard?
I mean, Jesus was a terrible public speaker. And I
If
go
oh
from
sorry
the
if but because like Jesus says Jesus didn't really want to speak correctly, right? So it's like he did it on purpose. So
no
I'm
no
saying like
no no, no,
if
I mean, like,
Jesus if God wanted to, could God convince me of anything?
no, I would say no, because God by his ontology is bound to truth. Us in our ontology hate truth. So by definition,
Why do you think
God
we hate
being bound,
truth?
if huh?
Why do you think we hate truth?
Um, Because ontologically, the Bible describes us as enemies of God, and I would say, in personal experience, that tends to play out. That makes sense to me when I just watch humanity.
I don't think I would
Um,
be if now this God in the Bible, I am agreeance with you. If this God in the
mhm.
Bible was opposite, or sorry, was doing the things that I just said, I wouldn't call this God bad.
Right,
I might
right,
not say the God's real, but I definitely would be I
right,
wouldn't be saying that God's
but
bad.
right, but you do understand that saying a God on your own terms is not bad, is not saying anything at all.
But that's all we are doing. Even you,
Huh?
right? I think you're doing the same thing as me. You just believe it and you make that different than what
No,
I'm
no,
saying, right? Like
I can
I
read
think
the
we're
I can
sorry, one second. I'll let you I just want to make sure you got what I'm saying here.
yeah, yeah.
I am saying that we both are making up what God is saying.
Well, I would say I'm not making up what he's saying. I'm trying to take what he's given me and make a logical inference as to what he's saying. And I'll agree with you. A lot of it I don't like. I don't When I read through the Old Testament, there's a lot of things that don't sit well with me. That being said, it's how God has revealed himself, so it is what it is.
You never thought that maybe this wasn't God?
No, because that violates the law of simplicity, as far as, because are you getting into like the whole evil God case?
I'm more getting into us knowing. I'm even keeping us at blame here, right?
Uh
Um,
huh.
I am saying we are the fallen ones, yet we're
Yeah.
reading a book from fallen ones and expecting it to get God correct. So even if I stay on your side of the fence, it still
Mhm.
doesn't make sense that I would trust this book that was written by men.
Why I trust every book I've ever written is written by men. Some I
which
trust, some I
which
don't.
which is why you need evidence to trust the books, right?
Right, exactly. And I would say the Bible has given me enough evidence in what it is revealed that the stuff that I don't fully understand, I can give it the benefit of the doubt on.
What has been revealed to you from the Bible? I guess that'd be a good question.
Well, I'm speaking specifically on like say historical reliability. Now I could now as far as like you want to I'll admit I presuppose the existence of God, and that is basically due to like what I perceive as the impossibility of an infinite regression and causality and everything. You may not like that argument. I like the argument. I think it's sound, so I presuppose God. Um
Oh, that's
but
fine.
and
I
that
mean, it is what it is. I'm just saying at that point,
right.
right? Um, the only thing you added to what I am saying is that you just said this thing's true, but it doesn't take away what I am saying. You are now speaking for that thing, even if you believe it's true or
Mhm.
not, because you can't show me where God spoke to you literally, right?
What do you mean? Like within the book, I can't show where
No,
he
no,
like specifically
because
said, "Hey, Sheldon, this is for you."
we can't use the book at the moment because you're telling me that the reason you trust the book is because there's something that speaks to you that tells you the book is correct. Is that
No,
did I,
no, 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 no. I'm saying based on evidence I have reviewed, the book seems to me to be correct. It seems to be in line with history. It seems to be in line with the human experience. It seems like it seems factual. Now there are things in it that we can debate on, like did a census come down from Caesar as described in Luke? The evidence shows that it didn't. Okay, that's fine. Maybe Luke was wrong about that. I don't need, but 100% reliability does not equal historical reliability. So
I'll agree on like
every
not because I don't think you can 100% know anything. So, um,
right.
what? How many things would have to be wrong percentage wise for you to be like, oh, this book's not right?
Well, there would have to be key issues, right? Like
Okay, let's name a couple of them. Yeah.
well, number the biggest one is if someone were excavating Palestine and they found a grave with a first century Jew in it with a crown of thorns laid on top of its skull, I would have to really rethink my theology here. All right. So I think so. You know this as Christians are everything hinges on the resurrection of Christ and whether or not it happened. It's a historical claim. It's a historical claim that I personally believe has good backing to it. So when Jesus confirms the rest of the scriptures, I can look at that and be like, well, it was good enough for Jesus. Maybe I can give some of these passages the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but I don't think you can historically prove a resurrection. That's a big
You can't
problem.
historically prove a resurrection, but you can historically prove the conditions around it and infer as to what explanation is the most plausible.
Okay, so here's where we would definitely disagree, and I don't mind us moving
Mhm.
into this. Is
Yeah, so it's
the most plausible thing is that no one rose from the dead
how do you figure?
because that is every day we see that no one rising from the dead. So even in our time, it ties back to their time. So that's how
Right,
I
right,
like to judge it for what's real. So if there were
right,
dragons, I would expect to see dragons right now, or at least find dragons in fossils or something, right? So
right,
that
but right.
go ahead, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
Oh
no, go
yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
So I would say your reason's a little circular. Um,
Well, I think it's all, of
s-
course, it is because the Bible makes you be circular.
no, no, I'm saying your reasoning is
Oh,
circular.
oh, okay. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because your premise assumes your conclusion, right? Because do you believe that people could rise from the dead?
I would only believe it if I saw it. Yeah.
But generally speaking, do you believe it could happen?
I don't know if it's actually physically possible or not. So I swear that's tough for me to say. I don't know. I don't know if it's something we don't know about physics or science. I don't know. Like I seriously don't know. But
Right.
if I saw it, brother, I would believe it. Or if there was
Right.
evidence of it, I would believe it.
So because when I listen to your argument, to me it sounds like you're saying people cannot rise from the dead, and
As
because
far as
people
we
cannot.
know, yes, yes.
Yeah, so because people cannot rise from the dead, the explanation of someone rising from the dead cannot be the most possible conclusion, because we already know people can't rise from the dead. So
Oh, wait.
so
1 second,
your
because
premise assumes your conclusion.
the word you use, you need to use here because you told me to choose the most simple. Like the most simple answer is what?
Yeah, yeah. The most simple answer is he rose from the dead, because it
No,
best fits.
you can't. Come on, man. If like the reason I know that you would agree with me is because if we go out here today and I tell you somebody rose from the dead, what do you tell me?
Show me.
Right. And the most simple answer
It's
is
not
the most simple answer is what? I'm
a,
lying,
no. The simple
or they
answer
didn't
is
happen.
the no. The simple answer is show me. I'm not. I agree that it's not a claim that you should take lightly. But if you were to say, no, like seriously, he's right down the road from here. We'll go talk to him. I'll show you.
Right,
I'll show you the video.
but say
I'll
you
show you
see
the
him
pictures
though.
of his funeral.
Say you see him,
Uh huh.
right? Like what is still the because you said what is the most simple answer? Like
So I
I'm trying to
see.
get you to tell me the simple answer. The
Right.
simple answer is the simple answer. The simple answer
Right.
is somebody's lying to you and no one
Right.
rose from the dead. Otherwise, it
Right.
wouldn't be a miracle, right? We agree there.
So um,
Like
well, no,
it
because
wouldn't be a miracle if it happened all the time.
I would say a miracle is any time something um defies um the laws of, or defies natural physics.
And as far as we know, me and you, I think we 100% agree on this that
Yeah.
no one can rise from the dead. Like take away Jesus from a
No,
second,
I
right?
so well, so here's what I would say on my position is, can people rise from the dead? I would say I don't know, because I you
I'm
cannot
cool with
disprove.
that.
Right, right. Well, this is what I would say. Because you cannot disprove God, God could exist. And because God can exist, I cannot rule out the possibility of God stepping into reality. Because of
That's
that, that possibility has to be one that's put on the table. I
But
can't
that
just
wasn't
rule it
our.
out.
But that's not what we said, brother. What did we say? Me and you said what is the most simple explanation. What you just said is not the most simple, and it doesn't mean it's not true.
Well,
That's what
well,
I'm trying to get you to agree with me here because I
no, no,
think
what,
that's the only way me and you would be honest in this situation. Like I
well,
get,
what I,
hold on. I promise I'll let
yeah,
you finish.
yeah, go ahead.
What I want me and you to do is be able to just be honest for a moment here, and you will
Mhm.
probably still walk away believing, right?
Right, right.
So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm just trying to say I want you to agree with me here that the most simple answer is that it did not happen.
No, because I don't think that that answer aligns with the evidence. Okay, because you would agree that based on the scenario, simplicity is relative. Okay, so trying to think of a good analogy. Um, if, like, let's say um I left for work, and someone said, "Hey, where'd you go?" And I said, "I went to Subway." Well, that is the probably most simple answer um to explain my absence from work. But if someone else says, "Well, no, I was at Subway and you weren't there," now all of a sudden that explanation no longer satisfies. So based on
Maybe,
the evidence
maybe.
available, um based on the evidence available, we have to redefine what we call simple.
Right, but no, I'm with you here, and this is what I was about to add to it. Right, it depends. That answer could be a simple answer if we know and have the information that there's a subway that's enough time for you to get there and back in a time period.
Right.
All
So
those come together to what makes something simple. From what you're saying, we talked about the physics of it. We talked about never
mhm,
seeing it. Almost everything involved with this story in what we can measure in our reality, right? And neither of us would be
Mhm.
making assumptions here. I'm talking about 2026 reality and then measuring it
Mhm.
with 2000 years ago reality. And the only way
Right.
me and you can be honest about that is that, hey, the only thing that shows in our reality that me and you both could prove people don't rise from the dead, and that we've never seen it.
Right. But
We've never
there's a
seen
lot
it,
of things.
right? Because you never saw Jesus rise from the dead. And that's why I'm saying that. It
Right.
doesn't mean
But
it did
again,
not happen. It
yeah.
just means that you, in no way, can say it happened, and I have to believe it more than I actually think you would have
So
to give me the benefit of the doubt.
right. So I mean I totally understand why people don't believe it happened. I get it. Um
Okay,
but
that's fair.
what I'm saying is, if we're talking about percentages of certainty. Okay, am I certain it happened? No, I'm only 90% certain of my own existence. Okay, but based on the probability of evidence, I think it happened. I could be wrong on that. I concede that point. But if I look at the known evidence that historians agree upon, to me the best simplest explanation is that the accounts listed in the Bible, at least on that fact, are correct.
Sure. But it's more of the. I don't mean sure in that way. Sorry. I meant like what we know is that the accounts are the accounts from
Mhm.
who, and we don't even know if it's the original accounts. You agree on that or no?
They probably aren't the original accounts,
All right, cool.
but they're clearly citing sources.
No, no, but I mean like they're not the original voices.
Well, what do you
It,
mean by that?
um, like Matthew, Mark, they didn't really write it because
I don't
you
think I don't
you talked about historians, right? And the historians would say that we have no clue who wrote these, right? I'm trying to make sure we agree there.
Right, right, but so I agree that they were written anonymously. However, you can't say that we don't know who wrote it, but then say this person didn't write it because you just admitted that
Oh,
you don't know. They could have written it. I don't know.
hold on, say that statement one more time to make sure I can fix myself if I said something wrong.
Yeah, you can't say we don't know who wrote the gospels and then say we know this person didn't write the gospels.
Oh, like the way I phrased it.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying you can't know and not know at the same time.
Oh, okay. So I wasn't making like a claim on knowing or not knowing. I was saying,
Yeah,
as far as the evidence shows, this is anonymous, which
yeah,
make gives me the lean more towards the conclusion that they didn't write it.
yeah. So I don't have a problem with them being anonymous. I personally think that the authors, there's a reason they chose the authors that they did. And I think it was a good choice. For example, the reason they attributed John to John is because John never mentions his never. If you read the entire book of John, it talks about John extensively, but never once uses his name. It's weird,
Oh,
and
and when I want to
he
make sure when you're saying like I don't really care about the names, I'm asking
right,
you like, do you like it could be Jim Bob, and
right,
I'm asking like, do you think Jim Bob was actually there?
yes,
Okay, so to me, you
and
are saying they wrote it.
or
To me, you're saying they
they
wrote it,
so they either wrote it or they got it directly from firsthand sources. It was one of the two.
and I'm okay with a lot of people don't like to give that at all, but I could give that because I don't think that even after 10 years, you can literally remember every conversation and every word of what someone said, even if you are giving the story orally.
Well, you have to remember
The idea that they
there's two
got
there's
exact words.
so there's two things I would say to that. Number one, I don't think the wording needs to be exact. I'm totally fine with paraphrasing to gather initial concepts. Second of all, and I think this is the one thing that we really forget, they didn't have TikTok. Their memory was so much better than ours. They could memorize the entire Old Testament. So, um, because it was an oral thing, most of these guys were illiterate.
Oh,
Everything was based on
I mean
everything
more
was based.
of like I don't think we have proof of them going to be able to follow somebody around for 3 years and literally remember every single word this person said. And with Jesus,
Yeah,
it is very
well,
important to get every word correct.
yeah, you know the theory behind Q, right?
Yeah, like that's the source, the original.
Yeah, well, and that's based on the idea that most philosophers and teachers at that time had people who just followed them around and wrote down what they were saying as they said it. There's no reason to believe Jesus wouldn't have had the exact same thing. Granted, it's entirely a theory. We don't
Yeah.
know that,
I mean,
but
it's fine to have a theory, but at the same time,
yeah,
what me and you are discussing is what
but
evidence
it's a
do we
very well
have?
accepted theory, huh?
What evidence
Well,
do we have?
Well, the evidence is it makes sense that that would happen, and the authors seem to be very convinced that they know what he said, and we get this. And now, granted, there a lot of them are using Mark as a source, but there seems to be some sort of consensus across the Bible or across the Gospels, at least about the gist of it, as far as to what these were the words that he said, and even historians like secular historians will say, well, there's certain things that we know for certain he said. Some of it they disagree with, but like there
When you say
there's
certain and said, it means um
well
they
with
line
historical
the
certainty.
people line up because I don't there's nothing like historical like that. All we have is the stories that were told. There's no like outside source that says Jesus said the same thing that Mark said he said.
Well,
This
right,
is
but
this is all like in the group,
we're
right?
not drawing we're not drawing from one source. These are four separate individual sources.
Yes, but they were all a part of the same group, correct? So to me, that's one group.
Like, what do you mean the same group?
So they all were following Jesus around.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right. So
So
that's
I
not the
mean,
same thing. No, it's not a so because if I have a group of people around me, right?
mhm,
They're trying to or sorry, not even trying. They believe that I am their leader, right?
uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
it's beneficial for them because just human survival, by the way, you want to follow the person that's correct. So if you're telling the story, of course they're going to have the agenda to make me be uplifting if I am the one that they thought was their god and their leader. So say some things didn't work out, which is kind of how the story looks. Some things didn't work out, like they didn't think he was going to die. Now
Uh-huh.
we're not gonna get into the prophecy part of it or whatever, but they did not think he was gonna die. So
Yeah.
of course the stories start getting written to where he was supposed to die. That makes
Yeah.
sense on both sides. Like
Uh-huh.
obviously they really could have believed he died. I think we would agree on that,
Uh-huh.
obviously. And
Yeah.
then the other option for me is they didn't think he was gonna die and had to make up a reason of why he died in order to continue the belief. And I spoke for a
I
minute,
mean,
so I'll let you go ahead.
yeah, I mean, so that's a theory, and it's what I've heard before, and it's definitely plausible. But the problem is what we said earlier is, well, what best fits the historically agreed upon evidence? If what you're saying is true, and we know from history, as a matter of like, you'll not find a single historian who disagrees with this. Christianity was a major problem for the Romans. All right, which is why Nero went about doing what he did. If what you're saying is true, there should have been a body that the Romans could have simply said, because where Jesus was buried was public knowledge and it
Mhm.
was guarded. So the Romans could have simply said, hey, by the way, here's your raised savior, and tossed out a dead body.
But
That
for
didn't.
with usually the usual crucifixions, though, especially if you were an enemy of the state, they would
Uh
leave
huh.
you up. So it's like if we're going to do the history thing, like okay, let's look at Roman history with crucifixions of criminals, like Jesus
That
would have been. Like
well, that
they would have usually let made Jesus stay up there and be picked apart by crows or whatever. But
that
somehow the
that would even
story
feed
comes up.
further into
Well,
my.
hold on. But somehow, which goes towards my end, is that of course they made up a story that somebody took him down. They're not even speaking to us, by the way. They're speaking to people in their generations when they're writing these
Right.
things. So
Right.
they knew they needed to put that in there because people would have been like, hold up, Romans don't allow you to take down this kind of person when they're crucified. So they had to come up with a reason why the story says Jesus was put in a tomb after being crucified for being this political agent against Rome. They wouldn't have let him down. So we can't have it both ways with the history part.
Well, that doesn't help your case though.
Yes, it does. It's showing you why. It's showing you why these people would be making up stories that now line up. Like, of course, it lines up that Jesus went to the tomb. Of course, it lines up because they needed it to line up.
Right
now,
if he was
what would happen? What would have happened is if Jesus was allowed to do all these things and they were allowed to, why are there not any outside writings saying, "Hey, man, there's this guy Jesus. He was special because they allowed him to take it down." That's all in the story. They allowed them to take him down from the from the cross. Well, like, where's the outside stories? Where are the outside ones?
Well, there are some, but I think you're being a little disingenuous to what you would consider to be his, because first of all, would you agree that we haven't scratched the surface of all written documents from 2,000 years ago?
Oh, it would be close. Yeah, we're not even close.
So what you're asking for could exist, but the idea that we honestly, if we had that source, I would be skeptical of it because I'm like, well, that's a little too convenient.
But that's what. Wait, you're on the same page as me, bro. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's it's a little too convenient that they never let people take people off the cross that were politically killed, or not killed, politically was punished. They would never have done that. So that's what I'm saying. It's a very likely story that somehow this rich man came and that he was allowed to take him and allowed to put him into a cave, a tomb. That's more likely. You're on the same page with me. Just keep that same thought process when you're looking at the story too.
Well, no, because I don't see how leaving him up on the cross helps your case, because now he's got more witnesses. All right, because this happened very shortly.
We're talking about what they usually do. That's why. Remember, I'm not saying that, but that's what Rome usually did.
If they would have left him up, that would have created less doubt.
No, it was more of a, because you don't think they didn't believe. They were just trying to crush the spirit. But to see their God sit there and rotten away, you don't think that would have been worse?
What I'm saying is that further feeds the idea that Jesus did rise from the dead, because they should have been able to point to the cross, be like, dude, he's still crucified over there. He's rotting on that cross right there.
Oh, okay. I see where we're missing up here. I am saying that's why it shows the story's probably made up.
No, that's how I see it as the exact. To me, that's evidence towards my side of it.
Then there would be other writings about this weird thing happening.
There might be, but again, as you earlier admitted, we haven't excavated everything.
Right, but here's my thing.
There are some writings. We have Josephus and Tacitus.
Josephus barely speaks of somebody in the way that I am saying. If this happened like you're saying, this man would have been so special that everybody would have wrote about him. Now, you're correct that
kind of did.
No, not like he's being presented like not how you're presenting him. Like, Jesus literally would have been a freaking rock star.
I mean, 2,000 years ago, we're still talking about a random carpenter from Nazareth.
No, not us. I'm saying like in no, come on, brother. I'm saying like in his time period, it would be like how you can't go anywhere right now and not hearing about Taylor Swift. And it would be other people outside of Taylor Swift that were writing. So say right now, if everything just collapsed, right?
Yeah.
And you would find a bunch of Taylor Swift shit. Are you saying that that's what happened? Like, there's a bunch of Jesus stuff everywhere. We just haven't got to it yet.
Okay, so would it, like, I think your analogy makes sense if it was also illegal to go to a Taylor Swift concert, which it probably should be, but that's neither here or there.
Okay, that's fair. And until you meet me here, then I just met you there. Okay, but I'm saying this, like, even if it was bad shit talking about Taylor Swift, like propaganda
Mhm.
against Taylor Swift. Like
Uh-huh.
it would be everywhere because
Right, and I think
she was such a big rock star, and the state didn't like her. Let's just say it that way. The
yeah,
state didn't like her, so there would be a bunch of propaganda against her. Now
right.
there's
So,
not though.
so a couple things. Number one, this is pre-social media, so news traveled a lot slower. And second of all, I think his level of popularity is exactly what you would expect it to have been. Christianity blew up after this, while under
Well,
Roman persecution.
I mean, I have a video I just made on the true way Christianity spread, but I mean that's another
Bart
story.
Ehrman wrote a book on this. What was the book called? It called something about crap. This is gonna drive me nuts. Uh,
But I know what you mean by blow up. I like obviously this no one could say this movement didn't move, right?
right,
Like no one can say
right.
that, and I don't think anyone would deny that. But my point is that might even go towards more of what I am saying is that Christianity took over, and we
Uh-huh.
still don't have writings from outside of this one group. That's strange.
Yeah, yeah, we do. We got all kind of apocryphal books that they determined were later,
No, no,
but
but was it from Christians or
it was
outside, like
based.
people that weren't Christians? Maybe like hold on, sorry. Let me say like what about the people that weren't Christians? Where are those writings
Well,
about these group of
that
Christians that had this man that could walk on water that was feeding all these people that 500 people
so
saw
I
rise
mean,
to heaven? Like where are
so
all
that
these?
well that would be really weird if I believed everything Jesus did and then I'm still not a Christian. So I feel like that's an unfair.
No, because
Um.
that's like literally like the Jews.
Uh,
In your scenario, they saw Jesus do. That's where the whole church comes from. Like they literally saw Jesus perform all these miracles, and some of them did
yeah,
not
well, and
believe.
it's and a lot of this is recorded in the Talmud, and they're, which I guess would be your answer is the Talmud.
Right,
Jesus
in
recorded
their
that he
history
did these things,
history
right?
that
And
he got stoned.
huh,
In their history, he got stoned.
right, but he still
That's
performed miracles in their history. They just attribute him to the devil
okay. So you agree with the miracles? You don't agree with he got stoned. So how do me and you decide when they were telling the truth and when they weren't?
because
Without using
because
bias here, like when how would we judge?
because there's more than one source that corroborates the miracles. They're the only
No,
source that's saying the stoning.
not the
Okay,
outside sources, right?
so you have things that um the Bible and the Talmud disagree on, and then you have things that the Bible and the Talmud agree on. So would it be reasonable to say the things that the Bible and the Talmud agree on, you can probably just assume those happened because they were enemies of each other, and yet they agree on these points.
Mhm.
Would that be a fair assumption?
I'm replaying in my head. Oh, okay. And you're saying that they agree on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm
not
saying,
necessarily true, but they agree. They agree that
yeah,
this is what
they're
they
in agree.
decided.
Yeah, they're in agreement that some of these miracles happened, and the Talmud's best explanation for them is that they were the works of the devil.
All right, cool. So now this is where I'm saying where we we get to see who's going to be honest, right? Because you're
Right.
correct. If I go down this path and you go down this path, we are both still saying that we are right. And now, how do we show reasons? I get we can agree when we agree, but now we're
Yeah.
talking about when we disagree. So now I
Uh
am
huh.
saying, no, the Jews are right, bro. What are you talking about? And you're saying, no, the Christians are right. How do we prove who's right without the bias of making crap up?
Historical consensus and
So then
for
I
the
would lean
record,
towards the people. I would lean towards the people that you tell me kept this whole history down, which were the Jews.
the the Talmud was written down 300 years later. It was just an oral tradition up until then,
But you told me
and
oral
no,
tradition is good.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I did say that.
So
Um,
now I trust the people that have had this in their hands most of the time and that have kept
right.
control of it most of the time. You're telling me
Okay.
the people that kept this book together are all of a sudden the bad ones because
Is
they don't say Jesus died on the cross.
well,
That doesn't
I
line up to me.
right. Well, I would say I'm not a historian, so in this case, I'm going to defer to the historians. In which case, most historians will say one of the best known established facts about ancient history is Jesus died by crucifixion.
There are some that don't agree with that, but I don't think
Well, Jesus,
I don't think I would argue too much on that. It was more about how you were attacking the conversation and just to show that you kind of have to switch up some of the things because you were talking about historians, right, and how important they are.
right,
And you're using historians
right.
in this moment. I'm trying to use historians that were closer back to that time, and I don't think
Well,
you think that those historians knew less than these historians. Our modern historians didn't know crap compared to the Jewish historians. They lived that time. So
right, but a
who
Jewish
should I
historian like
trust?
okay, a Jewish historian like Josephus,
No. Like
because
we said
Josephus is
Josephus said something, right?
right. Yeah,
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't even. I don't even want to say that because I said I didn't bring it up. We said
uh-huh.
Josephus. There is writings in Josephus that say talk about people that believe in Christ, right? Very
Right,
short, very
right.
short. Um,
Yeah,
and that would count, right? I'm just saying that would count. But there's
right.
more proof of the opposite of it being true.
What is the proof of the opposite of it?
Because the people that you tell me had been telling the truth all the way up to this point are the ones that say, hey, this isn't what really happened. Why are you telling me to stop believing the people that have written this down and kept the history like you said?
I don't
Like
think
The Jewish people. Why are you telling me to stop trust what they are saying now?
well, I wouldn't say that any source is infallible, including the Talmud. The Talmud comes later, right? I'm saying, but that was just simply a response to your saying we would expect other writings about this guy. I'm like, you do have other writings.
Right. And in the
Some
other
of them are
writings,
reliable, some of them aren't.
the other writings are what? That you're exactly right. That was our point. The other writings
Right.
aren't this great shift towards the
Hmm.
stories in the gospel. They are
Right.
actually a great shift in making it more likely. Because remember, the beginning of our
When
conversation was about what is the likeliness of this event
right.
happening in the way that it
Well,
was told. In the way that it's told is
right.
key. So I am saying
Right.
what ties to our reality. I like to tie everything to our reality. Like if we don't see it in our reality, I don't know if I can make a claim that it happened in the same way, right? I can
All
make a
right.
claim
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
people died because I see people die. People have died in the past. That claim makes
Right.
sense, right? So that's
Right.
what I'm saying. So we have these people that kept this book together, right?
Uh huh.
And they said these events, and the events that they said happened match with my reality. So the fact that Jesus didn't rise from the dead, oh, I believe you, Jew, because guess
But
what? There's no proof of
but you
people
believe he
rising
did
from the dead.
miracles?
I would grant that, hey, for sure, that they definitely believed he did miracles.
Okay.
And the key word is they believed it, right? Because that also does not tie to my reality. I don't see miracles. So
Okay.
I will
Well,
say
you're
those people in the past 100% believed in miracles. I don't think that
right.
was a lie.
Okay.
But now the
You're
only way me and you can move on is only going off of what me and you could possibly prove right now. It's
right.
irrelevant on us making assumptions of if what they said is true, unless we could prove it being true right now. And I spoke for a
Right.
minute, so go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and honestly, man, this is gonna have to be my closing thought because I gotta
Gotcha.
go.
Go ahead. Thank you, brother. Yep.
Um. But yeah, all I would say to that is if I'm coming at this with an open mind, saying I don't know if it's possible people rise from the dead, in my experience, it's not. But again, I don't see any reason why God could not intervene within the physical reality. All right. Then I go off of historical agreed upon sources, which you can say, well, the Talmud better fits my view of reality. That's fine. You can say that.
But shouldn't we
A
both
lot of
be
people.
going off of our reality, brother? Like you
No,
live your
no,
everyday life.
no,
You're
no,
about
no.
to go to work right now, right? You're about to go to work.
Right, right, right. But
Are
my
you?
but
Hold on, hold on.
my
Are you about to go to
reality.
work real fast? Are you going to work?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Do you live your life and work like I'm talking about? You only focus on reality. You don't just come up with BS and then go and do a good job. You live off of
Well,
reality. So since we
yeah.
both use since me and you both can be successful using the method that I'm talking about, I think we should both use it when we're talking about anything. And that's the only way me and you can communicate, bro. If you start
But
making up stuff, we can't communicate.
right, but that's not a fair assumption because how much I mean maybe you do more than I do, but how much time in your day do you really spend thinking about and speaking about and applying philosophical and
Oh,
metaphysical
that
concepts?
that sucks for you because that's all I do. But I get your point. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna do
yeah,
you like that because
yeah, yeah.
if everybody that knows me that's even in this chat knows this is literally all I talk about.
All right, yeah,
Like
yeah, all right,
this is
yeah. Like I
it.
said,
This is
maybe
it.
you do more than I do, but yeah,
Yeah.
like most of my day does not revolve around considering the philosophical, right?
Okay, that's
But
fair.
my
That's
point,
fair. That's fair.
but my point is, given that I have to start with the conclusion, I don't know if it's possible or not. Now I look to what I can determine, and most, if not the overwhelming majority of historical scholars will tell you the writings of Mark are more historically reliable than the Talmud. So, because I have
Well,
no
it doesn't
preconceived
it
notions of what is possible, I'm going to take the writings of Mark over the Talmud.
so what about Old Testament? I know you gotta go.
Yeah. Well,
Like, because the
as
Old
far as
Testament had to be written by the people you are saying are lying.
well, the people who wrote the Old Testament weren't the same people.
No, no, no. I meant sorry. I'm sorry. They were a part of the same Jewish group that did not think a Messiah could die.
Right. And the Jews who did think that, right, they all didn't think that until they did. All right. So the first, like, you're like, oh, well, how come no Jews believe this? Well, many of them did. We call them Christian. They didn't stay Jews. So, um,
Well, most
that
Christians now, like the most
most
Christians are
Christians now,
Gentiles. Are Gentiles.
right now, but the original church was made up of mostly Jews.
Well, you just said I'm trying not to play the word game here, but they wouldn't be Jews anymore. Like we
Right.
said, like we said.
That's my point. So when you ask, well, why don't Jews believe this? They did. They became Christian.
Oh no, no,
Now
no.
there's
That's okay. That wasn't what my point was. Sorry. My
yeah,
my, my point was the fact of uh the people that wrote it, you're saying they broke off into a different branch. I can agree on that, right? Now,
yeah.
now, now we both get to use the Old Testament,
Mm-hmm.
and then more of what the Jews would say in the Talmud match up to the Old Testament. The New Testament, the Gospels, there's a lot of problems, and maybe, hey, I hope you call back, and hopefully we can discuss this about how
I would actually,
the Gospels
I
don't
would,
line up with the Old Testament.
I would love to talk about that. Actually, I just can't right now. But
No,
yeah,
no, it's
I'll
cool,
get,
man.
yeah, make it a topic relatively soon, and I'll see if I can get in on the call.
Yeah, Monday, I'll do it.
All right, yeah, yeah, sounds good, man.
All right, thanks, brother. Take care.
Yep, yeah, you too.
All right. Bye. All right. Thanks, Sean, for coming up. I enjoyed that one. And I think it ended like at the right time too, because I think we were about to start circling back to the beginning. So yeah. Hey, all right. Let me try to catch up. Shannon Q. What's up, Shannon? How you doing? Troy. What's up, Troy? Hey, Troy. Troy Jackson. Right? Or sorry, yeah, Troy Jackson. You had the comment section popping, man. I know you said you wanted to come talk to me too. So if you want to come talk to me, hey, you can keep me here for a whole nother hour. I said I was going to get off pretty soon. I got a video about to come out. I want all you guys to go watch it. But you can keep me talking. If you want to come up here and talk, let's go. If Oh, you're trying to at work? All right, all right, all right. I'm off on Fridays, so that's cool. Hopefully next time. I'll call in if I have. Wait, are you uh Pyro? Are you like a believer or not? I guess I'm confused. Don't mind me. I have Friday brain because I'm off on Fridays. Friday is the same brain as Monday brain, where you just don't get certain things. I don't know if you guys work that way, but yeah, my Friday brain is my Monday brain. Okay. Well, if you're not a believer, you could call in, but you're probably gonna be my last one. And then, like I said, I want everybody to go watch this video so we can get those views going. Like the first hour is important. Let's see. Could you clarify for chat? We don't want to make anyone believe anything. Oh, for me, I don't think I can change your beliefs. So I think that's, if you're asking the question, I don't think I'm changing anyone's belief. I just want somebody to be able to, like the last caller, if I can get any Christian to start saying things could be false, I think that is a big step in a big direction towards the society I think we're going to need, because you're not going to get rid of all Christians. We just need people to be able to be more honest, right? So when we both discuss this book, I feel like you're being honest. We're going to treat each other better in society, period, by the way. If I think you're being an honest interlocutor, I can't say that word, interlocutor. Why am I saying that? Interlocutor. Uh, if I think you're doing that, then I'm going to trust you a little bit more. But if we read this book and there's some very obvious things and you are acting like I'm living in the Matrix and you're not, then I have a problem. So my whole thing is trying to get people to be way more honest, because you have to remember, I don't know if you guys have ever been Christian. It's freaking scary to say anything against the Bible. Like that is a scary, scary feeling. So you have to hold people's hands. It's a very scary thing to speak against this book. Uh, it's very scary for certain people. So it's like you gotta, come on, baby. It's okay. I got you. And I don't mean baby in some rude way, by the way. I'm trying to be joking about it. So don't take offense to that. Throw away your feelings. You guys know I say that. Throw away your feelings. Open your mind. Question your beliefs. So just chill. Like, and it doesn't mean I'm not saying, because there's tons of things that me and Sean disagreed on. So I'm not saying that the only time I would call somebody honest is if they agree with me. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying if you can't come up with a reasonable explanation to why this doesn't mean what it means, which is the whole words don't mean words crap that everybody hates, then I kind of am, I don't know, it's not necessarily a right or wrong thing. I think I am being more honest. So if I read the text that says, some of you standing here today shall not perish until you see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven, blah, 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 blah. Like, I am being honest about the text. That's what it says, right? And if you're telling me that's not what it says, you better have a very good reason on why that's not what it says. Otherwise, I am going to call you dishonest. And I know that was probably long, but I hope that cleared up anything that anyone was saying. Yeah, you can, no, but you can call in, Pyro. Like I said, this is kind of coming to an end. I don't think anybody's gonna hop in. I had a good time. Hopefully other people had a good time. So yeah, if you want to call in, ask me a question, I'll open it up for that. If anybody wants to call in, if you've been having a question for me, this is your time. We got about 8 minutes. A little longer than that. Like, it's a little longer than that. We got a little time. Like, let's say 10 minutes. If you want to come ask me a question, I'm not really shy, so I think anybody can come ask me. If you ask a dumbass question, that's a different story. But if you just want to come say hello, be happy to meet some of you. So that's cool with me. So anybody that wants to, I'll open up the door for that. Yeah, and my only criteria for people being here is, I mean, you can't be spitting no like PD stuff, or there's like, we're all adults here, man. Everybody knows what they can't say and what they shouldn't say. Like, let's just be real. So, like, if I gotta tell you not to say it, yeah, that's probably like, I don't know. You gotta, like, come on. Let's just be real on that. So, anybody that wants to call in, call in. If you want to be that last, remember that the main topic was the Tower of Babel. So I would love somebody to. We're gonna continue with the next one too, because we didn't get as far as I wanted. There's so much of that story that's just ridiculous, right? And it's obviously a made up story, guys. That's what I like. That's why I let Sean continue what he was saying, because he even said, obviously, the story is probably made up. Yes, because the story is so freaking ridiculous. Now, my whole point to that, which I wish we would have got into, is that since this story is supposed to just be telling giving a lesson, is it more likely that some of these other stories that have these kind of crazy miracles in them are not the same? Maybe these people that were writing these books did not technically mean for them to be the truth as if we are like we're looking at them. Do you really think there was a Tower of Babel? Do you really think all human beings spoke the same language? We know that's not how language works, guys. And I'm sorry for not saying that. I like to play the role of what the believer is thinking, right? We're doing internal critiques. So it's just like, let me say that real fast in case anybody is confused here. Obviously, the story of the Tower of Babel did not happen. Like, I just want to be clear on that in case anyone's confused. We have proof that that is not how it worked, right? I'll be. I think Sean was honest about the parts that he's not sure are made up or not. He goes on. He just says God can do it, and I mean, to me, it's the God of the gaps type of thing. And I think most believers at some point have to go to that. They have to say, I don't understand, which is why I love getting believers to that point, because if you can't understand, you can't understand. That's my point. There's no way that people 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 6,000 years ago got the correct God, if there even is one, and that God that they describe is not here right now showing up. There's no way that the God of the Bible would not still be around. God in the Bible was everywhere all the time. That is the damn book, right? So it's just like, I don't know, all these things tie together to me. And that's why I'm saying that it's more likely, right? What is the more likely thing? That these people were making up stories just like the people before them, just like we do, right? Like we literally making up stories right now, man. Like we're just making them up. Like, we got movies you go watch. How many of y'all are gonna go watch the freaking Odyssey? Like, what, I don't understand why people think that, and I just did a video on this. I don't understand why people think that ancient people could have never been making up stories. Like, what makes those people so special that they only told the truth? Ain't no way we think we all tell the truth like that. Like what? Like, I don't like it. It just blows my mind to think that that people think I'm the one being so irrational to think that these people could have just made up stories, when that's what everybody does. That's what the human race does. That's what we freaking do, man. Yeah, it's like so crazy to me. It's like, come on, guys. And that's what I mean by being honest, right? If I'm talking to you, if I was speaking to somebody and they just told me what I just said was not true, I would feel like they're being dishonest. because of course we make up stories. And that's why I like to point out the most basic things, and I don't like to get bogged down into all of that other crap. Other people can do that, and that's fine. I've always spoken that I think you need different types of people when we're trying to tackle these things. You need your people that are like, you guys know I love Matt. Like you need your Matt people. You need your Justin people, where they're just geniuses and savants. Like Matt's pretty smart too. Don't get me wrong. He knows a lot of shit too. And it's like you need all of these people because everybody's different and everybody might need to hear something a little bit different, right? You like, I might not be the one to say it to you. Somebody else might be, right? But there's different ways of doing this. So it's just what I'm saying, guys. That's all I'm saying. And I think the most important thing that ties all skeptics together is the drive to just keep everything as honest as possible, right? I know like the word skeptic has this weird negative connotation, but let's just that's also why the Christian God doesn't make sense to me, or Abrahamic God, about being disappointed when people want to question, like when people want to learn. That sounds so horrible, man. Like I don't know, if you don't get that, really think about that. Like that sounds really horrible to not want someone you love to like question. That sounds like very abusive. Like I don't like that sounds very abusive. It's like, oh, I love you, but don't you dare question me. I know everything. I'm looking down on purpose. I want you guys to feel this, all right? I'm acting right now. Let me act. Don't 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 you dare question me. Who are you to question me? Like, I love you. Come on, guys. Like let's be real about that. Like if you saw that, like, and I know this is what I mean by being honest, if you saw a person doing that to someone and then you hear I love you at the end, like call the hotline, abusive parent, like come on guys, what are we gonna do? And this is what I mean being honest. I think every single person in here, whether you're a believer or not, that story I just told, you are going to be on my side. You're going to question it. I'm not saying that you would think the person for sure doesn't love the person or it's not abusive, but it's going to look like they're abusive. And my whole thing is with the book. This analogy works, by the way. I'm not just saying this crap. Just like with the book, we have to look at the book for what it looks like. And then as soon as we can agree on what it looks like, let's start breaking it down and seeing if what it looks like is true, instead of just making the book look like something else at first. And then when you start breaking it down, you're lying to yourself. Because if I look at this situation and I'm saying, oh, it looks beautiful when it really doesn't, I am going to go into that story and then try to pick out everything that makes it look beautiful. The book doesn't look beautiful. Let's just admit that. That's why you have to have apologetics, guys, because if the book looked beautiful, no one would be able to say these things that I'm saying. So that's the reason why you have to switch it around. That's the reason you have to make up crap to make it make sense, because the book does not look that way. I just want people to come around and call the book for what it is. And if you can prove to me that it isn't what it looks like, great. But from all we know, it looks like what it looks like, man. And it does what it says. Now, doesn't mean you're not going to believe in God. Remember, this was the original question, by the way. It doesn't mean you're not going to believe in God. It just means you're a little bit more honest. That's all. And that was a long rant to a question, by the way. You guys, I can rant. I can get going. That's for sure. All right, we got somebody that wants to talk. All right, this is gonna be our last one because I'm gonna be done after this. I got a video to make too. Hello.
Hey, how's
What's
it going?
up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, pretty good. What's your name?
Pyro. You can just call me Pyro.
Pyro. What's up, man? What can I do for you?
Not much. I've been watching your channel for a little bit, and I really enjoy it. But I just had a quick question for you, and I was sitting here thinking about what am I going to ask him if I jump in a call.
Okay.
So my question is like, I've noticed everybody, like what you was just talking about, everybody sort of has like an angle that they sort of approach this topic, right? Whenever I'm listening to someone like Matt, it's more about like the epistemology, the logic, stuff like that. Even like I just seen Shannon in the chat, and every time I listen to her, it's like talking about the definition of God and stuff, and I find that stuff to be really interesting. Um, what's your angle that you really like to approach the topic from that you really dig into?
I maybe I might have just I thought I might have answered this, but it's just focusing on not necessarily the actual subject, just how honest the person can be on the subject. So it like somebody can come in here, like I don't have aliens on board, but they can come talk to me about aliens. They could come talk to me about ghost, and I would still approach it the same way, which is breaking down how honest they can be on things that we both know we would agree on. And I'll start with stupid stuff because I just need to know when you stop being honest. Like, hey, do you believe that we both can see? Like, you know what I mean? And then we would come up with reasons why we both believe we can see. And then it'd be the same thing with the next thing. And then it's just like, do you believe in hallucinations? And if they're like, no, nobody hallucinates, I know they're being ridiculous. So that's why I focus on those details to see how honest somebody could be. And that's why I feel like I enjoy all conversations, because it is such an interesting thing to see what makes us stop being logical.
I see.
And go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I do I don't want to say push back or anything, but the honesty thing is kind of tough for me to, at least in my conversations. For instance, I had a conversation with a Christian recently about the Garden of Eden, right? And my whole point was, if we read the text, like you say, honestly, to me, it's very clear the snake tells the truth and God lies.
Okay.
Would you agree with that? At least the interpretation.
I would bring up a circumstance where not even in the story anymore, and this is just what I would do with you if we were talking about this, is I would bring up a circumstance where I know you would have to say that somebody didn't lie, and see if that lines up with us both thinking that's the truth, and then make you see the story in the same light.
Okay, so it's more like you bring it out to like a real life analogy and cross compare.
Right, because if you'll be honest with me about your life, which most people will, most people like to talk about themselves. My thing is, and that's why I always start off my videos with about losing those emotions, because that is what's really going on. When we start to be dishonest, it's emotional. Like that's when we start to lie, is when we get emotional, and it could be for good reasons. I don't think you should not always not lie. There might be a circumstance you need to lie. But being able to know why you're doing it, it's usually some defense mechanism, if I can be more specific than just saying emotion. It's a defense mechanism. So I need to know when that defense mechanism is triggered. And the only way I can do that is by you telling me, us agreeing on life stories anyways, sorry, I'm rambling. Go ahead.
No, I see what you're saying. It's just, and whenever I was reading it, and the person across from me, we read the same thing, and I honestly was like, yeah, it looks like God is lying here. He says, hey, if you eat this fruit, you will die, right? And they say, well, no, it actually means you'll die spiritually. And to me, I would say what you're saying, like, that doesn't seem honest, because that's not what the text says. But I don't know if I could say they're being dishonest, because that's like their true interpretation, in quote unquote the whole context of the book.
Okay, so I would still say it's okay from what I'm saying, is because I need them to realize that the only reason they believe that is opposite of how they normally would look at it is because they have some outside attachment.
Right. Okay. I would agree with that.
And don't get me wrong, this doesn't always work on everybody. Matter of fact, I've lost quite a few friends because this is how I tackle stuff. And it's a very hard thing to deal with from the person's end that is being the most dishonest. The way I do it, it's very difficult to keep talking to somebody. because
Right.
eventually it is obvious that you're being not I don't and my buddy in chat tells me to stop saying liar and stuff. I'm trying to get better at that, but I don't mean liar in the bad way that people normally mean it, because I accidentally lie sometimes, and it's not necessarily me trying to really be deceitful. It's just I I mean, I have this attachment to something, so I'm coming up with excuses. And to me, technically, that can be twisted into just being dishonest. But you don't know you're being dishonest, which sounds weird. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, that was kind of my point. Like, I can imagine a situation where a person they honestly believe what they're saying, right? But from my perspective, it sounds like they're contradicting themselves, and I could say, hey, look, that sounds like a contradiction. You're lying, and they'd be utterly confused.
That's why the really good examples and knowing the person would help. Not knowing the person, I think what I'm doing would be very difficult. But that's why I like multiple people. That's why I like people to call in multiple times. And you might not have been here too long, but my first conversation with someone is usually, I don't hate to use the word friendly, but it's usually really friendly, because I am trying to get you to share your story with me, so then I can go back and, like I said, I think about this stuff all day. I probably get on my wife's damn nerves.
Yeah.
I'll go back and try to come up with conversations like I'm speaking to you. I'm a weirdo like that. Like, even after speaking to you, brother, I'm gonna go and replay our conversation and find ways that I could talk to you differently and maybe get my point across better in the future. So that's why I like to do it that way, because the only way I could even get someone close to seeing what I'm seeing is to, like, step into their body and give them my experience. And, like, I think that's the only way to really talk to people, and hope, by the way, I don't think this is 100% guaranteed thing. Even hope that they would be able to see it through your eyes. You have to know them. Otherwise, you don't know how to speak to them at all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe I don't know. From my perspective, I just think saying anybody is being dishonest is such a high bar, like, what's the word? To actually claim, I guess, because you can't jump inside somebody's mind and really know for sure, right?
100%. That's true. But actually, let me let you talk some more, because I feel like you're saying more, and maybe you're having a hard time saying it, because
Oh, no.
you're definitely disagreeing a little bit, which is fine. And
No, it's just generally where I'm talking to people, that would be like the last thing, like my last go to is saying that they're dishonest, because again, that's such a high bar for me to claim, unless there's like some evidence that's like, hey, we both know this is the case, like, we both know there's cheese in the fridge, right? And you're over here saying it's not. Then I could say, hey, you're being dishonest, because I
do
have
do
that
you feel like,
experience.
or maybe this is me miscommunicating, because I feel like exactly what you just said was exactly why I do what I do. So
Mm,
maybe I misspoke on something, because to me, you said exactly why I do it, which was, unless I can point to some evidence. And to me, the strongest evidence is using
mm.
someone's life.
I see. I guess I was reading more. It sounded like you had like a more of like a disagreement in interpretations of, like, the Bible, for instance. One person reads the Bible, you read the Bible, and you come to different conclusions, right? And you say, I read it this way, like, let's be honest about it. And somebody says, no, I read it this way, let's be honest about it. And you both come to different conclusions. I'm my view, it sounds like you're both being honest, but you just have a different interpretation. How do you break that symmetry?
We're being honest to that point, and then we have to. And this is why, like with Sean, the last person I was just speaking to. This is why I kept saying, hey man, this is what we need to do. This would, to me, break what you're saying. Is like, me and you have a reality that we both live in at this very moment, that we could match things up and say, hey, we agree. that reality would also have been the reality of the people that we're talking about in these ancient times. So I am saying only use, this is what would be being honest to me. And I try not to call people dishonest. I just say, please be honest. And
I agree with that.
okay. So I'm saying like, hey, I feel like this isn't being honest anymore because we both agreed that, hey, we've never seen somebody rise from the dead. It doesn't happen. It doesn't mean it didn't happen, and that's me being honest. I need the other person to be honest and say, hey, no, we don't see people rise from the dead. That is being honest to me. Being dishonest would be him saying like, nope, we see people rise from the dead because Jesus. To me, that's not an honest statement.
I see.
Like, but it
because
would
it
be an
doesn't
honest.
line up
No,
with
go
what
ahead.
you see.
Yes, exactly. That's
see.
100%. And then that way I have I'm not going to say the right, but I feel like I can now say like, hey, hold on. I thought we were being honest.
But if somebody has like a different interpretation of what we see, right?
Then they have to prove it. And then it's on them to show me where I'm missing something, which is fine. I'm all about learning something. So if there is proof that people rise from the dead, and we've had people say that on here, they're like, well, wait, hold on. Or not rise from the dead necessarily, because that would destroy their whole argument. Even though there are parts in the Bible more than Jesus rose from the dead. But I try not to go there because that's too obvious. And I think most Christians are ready for that. So I don't even want to jump to what they already assume I'm going to go to. I want to focus and know them. I want to get to know them. So anyway, sorry, going on a rant here. But my whole point to that is, if they are going to tell me that something that we both agreed never happened, they have to provide evidence. You don't get to just say because I said so. Because that's why I started with hold on, we didn't just say I said because I said so. I made you describe why we both think we're conscious, why we both can see. We are describing why we both think that's true. And if I say, hey, we're not conscious, guess who needs to explain why? Me. Because I am saying something that is outside of the reality of what we both agreed on. So now it's up to me. Go ahead. Yep.
No, I see what you're saying. But yeah,
okay.
to wrap things up, I don't want to waste your time too much. I that's what I feel. But yeah, again, to go back to the very beginning, I understand that's like your method, the honesty thing. But like, what's your favorite topic in this space? Because even Shannon, you mentioned like morality and souls, which are also some of my favorite things. My favorite thing is free will. That's something I think about within this space. What's your favorite thing that you go to, like in those topics?
Huh.
Because it's like, what is his name? Justin. He's like, he knows the Bible inside and out. So like, that's kind of his thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I don't think that would be a topic, though. Knowing everything is not necessarily a topic.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
That's a good one, man. I don't know if I have an answer for that. What is my go-to? Oh my God, I just jump around. I just love talking about, like, my favorite Bible story would probably be Job. If you want to go to like the story I love to talk about the most, I think if everybody that actually knows me in real life, I bring up Job so much because I think that story alone shows how ridiculous the Bible is. But
Really?
I think it shows. It just shows like from the beginning. It shows us how ridiculous because the devil's so bad, but the devil got rewarded with being able to go to God whenever the devil wants. And go talk to God. Yet I'm sitting here begging God to talk to me. And the devil that got thrown from heaven. I mean, I know there's a bunch of stories about what really happened, but most Christians believe that the devil got thrown from heaven. Yet the devil gets earth. The devil gets to go up to God and ask to do stuff, and then God still says yes.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. I was kind of hoping you brought up the devil earlier when you were talking to Sean, I believe it was, because he mentioned something like you said something like, why doesn't God come down and just show us or something along those lines? And the common response is, well, that would take away our free will. If we knew, then we would follow. But the devil is, or Satan is a great example of a counterpoint, right?
Yeah.
Satan knew God without a doubt, right? But he didn't. He rebelled.
No, I love that one. I love that one. Keep going.
So
yeah.
why don't we get the same opportunity to rebel?
Oh yeah, no, I 100% agree. That would have been a good one to bring up. Sometimes what I like, and I think I said this in one of my comment sections too, where it's like some of my videos, I don't always bring up everything because I also love to watch people do it in the comments. If you've ever been to my comment section, I almost respond to every single one if I can. Like I will go down there. This is how crazy I am about this crap, by the way. I spent a whole day just loving replying to comments, man. I love the interactions so much because I like to see people have that aha moment when I can, even though most of the time they won't. When I get one, I love it. So if out of 1,000 comments, if I can get one person to be like, oh crap, I never looked at it that way. That is like the most beautiful feeling to me. And it kind of, I'm saying this for a reason because it ties into why I attack the things that I attack. It's in a selfish way a little bit. I enjoy the feeling of people learning crap so much. I do it because I like the feeling of watching people do it. So it's like, it is, I don't know, it's like a selfish good thing. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy like talking about it too. I actually go down to my local church after Sunday class or whatever and see if anybody talks to me there. And I've made a few friends doing that, so it's pretty fun.
Heck yeah, that's awesome, man. You have a channel?
But I have a channel, but I just stream every now and then, like from my phone. It's very basic. Like your setup is a lot better than mine actually. You got the Discord and the call in. I just generally, when I stream, I just talk to chat directly.
Okay, you should be able to join the little. There's a live stream chat in my Discord, man. You're welcome to like post your stream and stuff when you do. That'd be cool, man. I'd come take a look and listen.
Yeah, I definitely got to work on my stuff then. I was curious, your Discord channel, it looks like it's just made for this, but it would be kind of interesting if you had like a general chat or maybe like a couple virtual rooms with like so people can like talk to each other amongst ourselves.
Yeah, that sounds great. I take advice all the time, man. As long as people present it well, then that's awesome. I got plenty of stuff in my comments that have helped improve. So if you see my videos getting better, it's because of you guys. To be fair, it is. Like, because I was just messing around with a bunch of stuff when I started because my brain just works that way. I like to try everything. it's like
I mean, I like your setup. It's nice.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. But it gets better as you guys let me know. It gets better.
But yeah, I definitely think like you'd probably have more callers if there was more of an active discussion going on in your Discord.
Awesome. I will take that advice, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, man. Yeah, I'll let you go. Thanks for the talk, man.
Oh, anytime. Call back anytime. Thank you.
All right, man. Peace.
Peace, brother. All right, guys. That literally was my real last sip of coffee. So thank you so much for calling in, Pyro. I really appreciate that. Talk with Paul about stream stuff. Hey, anybody that wants to help, I don't know Paul. If you know Paul and Paul wants to help me out, I watch Paul all the time. So I love Paul's voice. I wish I had Paul's voice. I'll say that. Paul and Seth's voice. I wish I had it. I can't do it. I can't even pretend to do it, by the way. Like some people tell me I got a deep voice, but it's in like a different deep way. So those guys got the voice that's made for it. So, we do our best with what we got and what we're born with. So, and then we get punished for it, by the way. That's another subject. Oh, Paul is in your house. That's hilarious. I didn't know that. That's hilarious. I legitimately did not know that. Well, okay. Your partner, I'm assuming then. That's fair. So yeah, I'm not trying to start another conversation though, but it is sad that I am born a thinker. I love to investigate stuff. I care about things that are true. And I am told, and this is what made me realize this book is a lie, or at least how we present it is a lie. I don't know if the people that wrote it really thought it was going to be what it was, but whatever. I'm not going to assume. The way we look at it, we make it up. We make up the stories. And that's unfortunate to me that I'm told that I am not being honest because I read the book and try to question it and question what it says. And I'm less honest because I read it for what it is. So just saying, guys, that's what I mean by questioning your beliefs, being able to question your beliefs. I will never understand why somebody that's supposed to be all loving, all powerful, all knowing would even care if I question. And that's why I like the story of Job the most, because the story of Job kind of tells the whole Bible story in that one book. How unfair this shit is, how ridiculous this crap is. And maybe those two things kind of tell the whole story: unfair and ridiculous. And that's not me making it up. That is literally the stories. And if the stories that I talk about, like let's say Job wasn't in the Bible and it was just a movie and nobody referenced the Bible at all, everyone would say that the creatures were horrible. The devil and God, by the way. Everybody would have said those two creatures are horrible in the story. But because it's in the Bible, all of a sudden we got to start making excuses. Right? That's what I mean by being honest. Right? When you tie those things together, and if you're honest over here and you're not honest over here, that's not being honest. Just saying. Or you better have a good reason why you changed your mind or changed your opinion. And that's what I asked for. Thank you, JT. So, guys, that's it. Everybody, please go watch my video. It just came out at like 1 o'clock. You guys have been doing so good. I thank you guys so much for the support. I'm pretty sure I've gained almost 1,500 subscribers in like a month. So that's all thanks to you guys. Thanks for all the advice on the videos. You guys are allowing me to make better videos. I love it. Like I love doing this. I love talking to people. Like I said, if you know me in real life, you know I love this shit. Excuse my language, not excuse my language. But anyways, guys, as always, I'm Jay. Don't forget to throw away your feelings, open your minds, and question your beliefs. Peace.